So why isn't this in the entry books? Don't know whether the state thinks we're stupid.
And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Things felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a 10. Like Daddy, Stacy, all of the Barbies is pretty. Damn, all of the bodies is bad.
Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nogwazi Ndombela, also known as Kwazibe. On all social media platforms, do subscribe, be a part of this family, and if you're returning subby, welcome back, darling. Now it is the 15th of April and we are back in court. This update could not wait until Friday because court is burning, okay? Yeah, you guys. Since I could not wait until Friday, I decided let me give you the update on today's proceedings because yeah, Shana myself, I need to get this out, and yeah, so let us get into today's proceedings. So when the proceedings began, we were notified that the defense was under the impression that they'd be able to do cross-examination on Mogane, who is the ballistic expert, but they were, however, still consulting with their own expert in order for them to be able to cross-examine Mogane, and they have bumped into a bit of a difficult situation with regards to financing. It is said that the accused thought that they would be able to afford the ballistic expert. However, the prices were a bit steep, so now they've made an application to legal aid for them to be able to pay for the services of this expert. So with that being said, basically the ballistic evidence has been put on hold, and because it was communicated in time with Maloyi, he then prepared another witness for us for today. And the witness that we have back on the stand is Sergeant Mogane, which we had in the trial within a trial, but now he's here to testify on the specific evidence with regards to the main trial. Okay, so Baloyi gave us new exhibits which Mogane would be testifying about, and he basically took us through how cell phones were confiscated from the accused. Now, with this evidence, he says that he was working in KZN in Bangeni with Ukininda when they suddenly got a call from Kalagabusha prison, which is where accused number 5 was held, and they were told that accused number 5 was found in the possession of a cell phone. Now, the interesting thing about the cell phone that was found on him, none of the details pertaining to the cell phone were actually recorded, and anything that was recorded, Mogane says it was recorded on a diary which cannot be located. So he says that they went to Kalagabusha, they were given a cell phone by a Mr Yaka, who is yet to come to court. However, Baloyi has signaled that this person will be coming to testify, and he basically says the phone that was found in possession of accused number 5 allegedly was a stylo phone. And the phone was taken for downloading, and basically that's the evidence that he's given with regards to that phone. He then says that accused number 2, when he was in Valeria police station, was also found in possession of a cell phone, which is pretty interesting because don't know whether the state thinks we're stupid, but this really is getting ridiculous, and I hate it when people undermine my intelligence because this really, no. He says that accused number 2 had a cell phone on him on the 8th of February 2021. Now guys, if you remember how accused number 2 got arrested, first of all, he was arrested in the comfort of his own home. He was not prepared to get arrested. When he was arrested, he says that he was searched, and procedurally, you would get searched before you are put into prison cells. He says that 2 cell phones were taken from him. This is just the version of accused number 2 that was told to us in the trial within a trial. But Mogane now is coming with this evidence saying that a cell phone was found on accused number 2 in Valeria police station on the 8th of February, which is interesting because firstly, accused number 2 was arrested in June of 2020. When he was arrested, both his cell phones, according to him, were taken. Okay, let's just say they weren't taken and he was arrested. He should have been searched. He should have been searched. And if he was indeed searched and he maybe hid the cell phone in areas that I don't want to mention, then does this cell phone not run out of battery? Because there was no charges found on him or anything like that. But anyway, he says the cell phone was found on Undanzi, and there was no report of this in the OB books. Now, surprisingly, the judge kept emphasizing the fact that everything that happens in a police station is recorded in an OB book. But today we find that a whole cell phone was found on an accused. Now, this, for me, is like procedure that if you find something that you're not supposed to find on a prisoner, you report it. So why isn't this in the entry books? And these questions that I had from my perspective were questions that were asked by Ramasipile. Mogane finished giving his evidence, and Mngomezulu said he had no questions for the witness. Ramasipile then stood and he said, you're saying that you arrested accused number 2 in June. And he's like, yes, that is correct. Was he in possession of a cell phone? And he says he does not remember. Now, what the accused is insinuating is that these people took his cell phones but never put them in the SAP 13 at the police station. They've kept his belongings out from the police stations, basically. This is what the accused is insinuating. So basically, Ramasipile had some very good questions, and he says that, you know, if he was arrested with a cell phone, why would he not call his family? Because we've already heard evidence that this person had not called his family up until the 24th of June when he went to Magistrate Cronje and he asked her if he could call his family. So my question is, why would this person sit with a cell phone for this long in prison and not call his family? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. And that was a very good question for me from Ramasipile. And we obviously found out that everything that needed to be detailed as some form of evidence was actually detailed in a diary that cannot be found. He says, no, his diary from 2019 and 2020 cannot be found. So basically, those were the highlights of the day for me for today. It's those questions by Ramasipile, and he says, you know, this person was arrested on the 16th of June. You say you found the cell phone on the 7th of February. Where was this person charging? I mean, considering the fact that this person was not in prison because they kept taking him from police station to police station, where was he charging his phone? He continues to just emphasize the fact that this person had no visitors because he had no phone call. So how would he have received the cell phone? And also another thing that he pointed out, which was very important, is the fact that this person was kept in isolation. Mogane himself keeps saying that this person was kept alone in the cells. So who would have given him a cell phone for him to be able to be caught with a cell phone in February? It really did not make sense. But those were the questions from Ramasipile for today. Who advocates Mnisi had no questions for the witness. Ngumalo the same, no questions for the witness. But basically, their clients at the moment are not really impacted by this evidence given. Umshololo had some very good questions. I feel like she really took Mogane step by step and made him shit his pants. Lack of a better word. Anyway, Shololo then questions with regards to the bag that was that the cell phone was kept for Untoli. Now, this is the stylo cell phone that Mogane talked about. She says, you know, was the cell phone in a sealed bag? And he says, no, the bag was not sealed. And he then just says, you know, Mr. Yaka will come and say this and this and this. And Msholo is like, can you refrain from telling me what Mr. Yaka will come and say? Tell me, answer me my questions, and Mr. Yaka will deal with him when he actually comes here. She asked about the SIM card on the cell phone. She asked about the serial number, which is very important, and as well as the color. So all these details, which are very important details to actually put down when taking in evidence, Mogane failed to do. He failed to write the color of the cell phone that he had taken. He failed to write the serial number of the cell phone he had taken. He failed to even write if the cell phone had a SIM card in it. So it was just like, it's information that should be there. It's information that you should have, and you have not written it down. Why is that? And she even says, the reason why you don't have all this information is because this cell phone was never taken from the inmates. She just says, I put it to you that it was never taken from the inmates. And she then goes through the document with Mogane, going through each transaction basically on the document. And she asked if he wrote a sworn statement with regards to his findings with regards to the cell phone, and he says no, he didn't write a sworn statement. And also she asked about the application for a section 205 for the cell phone, and Mogane says, well, that is Gininda's job. His job was just to do this and this and this. Gininda would handle the rest, and he does not know if that was done. She asked about the cell phone being taken to service providers, and he says he does not know any other processes that were followed. When Mushalolo completes a cross-examination, Mngomezulu decides that actually he has a few questions, and the questions that he has is basically with regards to the dates. He wanted to confirm the dates in which the cell phone was recovered from accused number 2, which Mogane confirms is the 8th of February in 2021. So Mngomezulu reminds Mogane that this person was arrested in 2020 in June. His first appearance was on the 27th of October. He had another appearance in November, the 21st of November, and then another appearance again on the 5th of March 2021. So where was this person when this raid actually took place? Was he actually at the police station that Mogane says that he was at? So basically, Mngomezulu says he'll still confirm the whereabouts of the accused on that specific date, whether he was actually at that police station, but he puts it to the witness that accused number 2 was not at Valeria on that said date. So basically, the judge then adjourns very hastily, like very quickly. Like he was so quick to adjourn for lunch, even though Mshololo had said that she does have just one question as a clarifying question after the re-examination of Baloyi. The judge was quick to say, you'll ask that question at 2 o'clock, let's come back at 2, let's go for lunch. So it's interesting times. I'll be back with the update for after lunch. Okay, after the lunch break, we did have a new witness, Mr Yaka, who is the head of the Kalabusha Correctional Service, who Mogane has been referring to all morning long. So the first thing I realized with regards to the evidence, Mr Yaka, is that immediately it contradicts what Mogane has told us. So Mogane had said that they were in Mbangeni doing investigations when they received a call from Mr Yaka saying that a phone has been seized from one of the prisoners. And when Mr Yaka gives his testimony, he says that on that particular day, Gininda and other investigating officers, he was expecting them on that day, and they arrived. When they arrived, they were doing investigations in the prison, and their investigations, it took all day, to such an extent that by the time the prison needed to be closed, all Gininda was still there. Now he then says he then received a call from a private number telling him that a specific prisoner has a cell phone in his possession and so forth and so forth. He then says he then goes to the prisoner, he gets the phone, and then he takes the phone and gives it to Gininda. Now my question is, the coincidence? What are the odds that Gininda is at the same prison conducting his investigations when all of a sudden a phone call comes through, we head of the correctional service to say Ntuli has a phone? What are the odds? I don't believe this nonsense. I do not believe this nonsense. But basically that is how he says that happened. And during cross-examination, Mushololo is the only attorney that had questions for the witness. She asked the time in which the seizing of the cell phone was done, and the witness says it was around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and he did the handover of the cell phone around 6 o'clock. And he also does not specify he does not specify the details of the cell phone in which he confiscated from the prisoner, which is very interesting. How can you take something from a prisoner and not be specific with the details? It baffles me. Another thing that is surprising is that what is the procedure? At this point, I'm asking myself, what is the procedure? Because I've never been arrested. I don't know what the procedure is in prisons when a person is found in possession of a cell phone. Why is it that he felt the need to give the cell phone to the investigating officers that happened to be in the prison on the day that the cell phone is found? Isn't there a procedure where it's confiscated and it's taken somewhere and it's written in the books of the prison, Uguti, this person was found with this cell phone, this is the disciplinary action? Yeah, now why? Considering the fact that Bati or Kininda were investigating, but Kininda, whatever it is that they were investigating, has it got to do with what Untuli was in prison for? How does he know the details of all of this? Guys, kuningi, and it's just not making sense. I'm sorry, it's not making sense. And the most surprising thing about all of the statements that are made by these witnesses are that these statements were made last year. Now, guys, you find a cell phone in a prison cell in 2021. You don't write a statement about it. You don't do anything about it. Why? Why only write a statement on... The statement was written on the 30th of August 2023. This trial was well within... Sorry, I got distracted by a phone call. As I was saying, all the statements are done in 2023 towards the end of the year when the trial is well taken off. Like, it confuses me. It's almost as if they are just trying to put things together last minute as the trial progresses, and it's proving to be very difficult because things are just not coming together. That's just my opinion. The day-to-day in court was crazy, like crazy business, and I look forward to see who the next witness is for tomorrow, because we do have a new witness that is waiting to come and testify. But oh gosh, I'm gonna keep saying this, these guys are framed. That's just my opinion. Anyway, we will wait and see. These guys are innocent until proven guilty, and so far the state has not brought in any evidence that sways me in the direction of these guys being guilty. I'm sorry. Anyway, I will see you guys on Friday when I update you for what has been happening the whole week in court. Bye.